my very early days. In my very early days, I was very young. I started doing business and hiring friends and trying to make money when I was 14 years old. And so a psychologist at that time certainly would have helped me with that initial point of starting to discover myself. In my 20s, a psychologist certainly could have helped me by showing me how I had narrowed my view to be a very achievist, capitalist, striving, empire-building self, and I had blinders to the other types of selves and people that are out in the world and that were even engaged with me. I'm sure I completely missed some of the characters and possibilities with some of the partners, employees, funders, because of my own blind side. After my own, we all have crises and life problems on a regular basis, but after my personal crises around 30 years old, with losing most everything I had, then a psychologist could have helped me on my spiritual journey. I spent most of that decade, my 30s, on a spiritual journey. Well, I didn't even really know what that was, so I just wandered about and tried to cobble it together on my own. I think a psychologist could have very well given me some great schemas and maps of the mind such that it allowed me to springboard to my new becoming much faster. In my later years, although they're not really late, but say after I was around 50 or after 50, I began to have this deep, impelling need to put something back. And I think that's, from what psychologists tell me and from what I've studied in psychology, that's one of those developmental stages. That's one of those spots where at each age and stage, we're impelled to solve some type of psychosocial crises, they call it. And at this time in my life, that crisis was around, do I keep everything for myself or do I put something back? Do I generativity? Do I move it on and pass it on to other people? And a psychologist could have given me great guidance with that. And hey, I plan on living a bit longer. So I'm sure a psychologist could tell me more about the next age and stage.